The night I made a silent little girl smile. A millionaire walked into my diner, and everything I thought I knew about myself got tested, you know what I mean? I was on a double shift, flower on my sleeve, coffee in my veins, bell above the door, doing that soft ring when Gavin Carter stepped in with his daughter Lily, bundled in a pale pink coat. He's far away, hands still like she was holding her breath. He asked the hostess for somewhere quiet, settled into a back booth, tried to act like this was just dinner, but any parent who has fought the same fight 1,000 times could see it on his face, that mix of love and fear and tired hope that says, "Please let tonight be different." I came over with a notepad and a voice that knows how to stay calm when the room gets loud. Grilled chicken for him, something soft for her, maybe soup, something warm and kind. When I brought the food, he lifted the spoon like it was made of glass, hand, steady the way people get steady when they are about to break, and Lily swatted it away, broth on the tablecloth, two heads turning from the counter to stare. He swallowed his frustration, not at her, at himself, at how money opens every door except the one you need most. I heard myself say it before I could talk myself out of it. May I? And I knelt, so I was eye level with her, not higher, not looming. Hey, Lily, I'm Vanessa. This is soup. It's like a little hug for your tummy. Just one small sip, if it feels safe. I waited. I let the steam drift toward her, like a gentle wave. I didn't rush. I didn't push. Her fingers twitched, tiny and brave. And when the spoon touched her lip, she didn't flinch. She swallowed. Then she looked at me, really looked, and a small smile warmed the space between us. I wish you could have heard her father's breath when that happened, rough and soft at the same time, like hope remembered how to move. I cleaned tables, refilled coffee, pretended the room hadn't shifted, then watched him watch me like a man doing math on a problem that had never balanced. He came back the next night with questions and a calm voice sharpened by sleepless hours. You studied special education, top of your class. Then you left, now you're a waitress. Why? I stared at the tile between us and said the thing you say when you need a boundary. That's not your business. He didn't blink. It is if you are the only person who has made my daughter smile in years. I wanted to walk away truly, but he said please like a person who doesn't practice the word, and I could tell he wasn't chasing a fix. He was chasing his kid, so I stepped outside with him, ocean air cutting the heat around us, and he said the name I had been keeping folded up in my chest, Caleb. My little brother, the boy with the drumbeat fingers and the laugh that filled a room, the one who got sick out of nowhere, the one I couldn't save no matter how many books I had read. I hated that he knew, I hated that it was true. I hated that the past is louder at night. Come work for me, he said, not like a command, like a plea. 1 week, just try, she trusts you. Every cell in me wanted to say no because caring is a cliff, but my mouth said yes, and that was the whole beginning. The Carter house sat behind iron gates like money trying to keep the weather out. Inside was a museum of quiet floors that didn't dare creak, art that matched the walls a little too perfectly, staff in shoes that never announced themselves. Lily's room was the only place that felt like a child lived there, books. Sunlight, a kite that looked like it was waiting for wind. Day 1, she turned away from my voice. Day 2, she pulled her hand back when I offered mine, and I went to the guest room that night, convinced grief had stolen the part of me that knows how to listen. On day 3, reading about a fox who finds home by following the wind, I noticed her fingers tapping, not random, right in rhythm with my words. I kept my voice steady, I let her set the pace, and later when she was drifting, I hummed a lullaby I swore I would never sing again. Outside the door, Gavin stopped, like somebody had pressed a hand to his chest, because Lily slept peacefully, no restless dreams, no flinching shoulders, just quiet, and sometimes quiet is a victory you don't realize you are allowed to celebrate. Something changed in him after that. He started showing up for the small things, block towers that kept falling, stretches that looked like nothing, but were actually everything, tea parties with plastic cups that stain your pride and clean your soul. He learned the difference between Lily's no and Lily's not yet, and every time he listened, the house warmed a degree. People like to say money is power, but presence is the real leverage, and he was learning it slowly, awkwardly, beautifully. One evening on the patio, ocean rinsing rocks below us, he said, "You make people believe they can," and he said it like he was half talking about Lily and half talking about himself. He reached for my hand and I let him. He leaned in and I met him, gentle, careful, like two people trying not to scare a good thing. Then fear ran straight up my spine and pulled the fire alarm. I stepped back like I'd touched a live wire. "I can't," I said too fast, and he did something rare for men who are used to winning. He stopped. The next morning I quit. I told him I was done pretending to be cold, because warm makes you vulnerable, and I said the worst version of the truth to make it stick. It was always temporary. You're trying to replace your wife. The silence in that office could cut skin. He dismissed me with 2 words that felt like a door slamming, and I left because sometimes you run before you break. 3 days later, Lily stopped eating, stopped reaching, stopped letting the world in. He tried, yeah, he tried, but you can't fake the bond kids trust. And one night he stood outside her door and heard the sound. No parent is built to hear a small person crying into a pillow, because the adult who made her feel safe vanished like a dream. He lifted her in his arms, blanket and all, and drove to my diner, the bell ringing like a second chance. I came around the counter before my brain knew what my feet were doing, knelt, touched her cheek. "Hey, sweetheart, I'm here." She grabbed the spoon on the table with trembling fingers and took one bite by herself, the smallest bite, the bravest bite, and that little diner fell into a holy kind of quiet, the kind where strangers hold their breath and remember how to root for someone they don't know. Gavin said, the thing he should have said sooner, "I need you not just for Lily, for me," and he said it without armor, no deal, voice, no proof, just the truth, plain. He went to one knee with a velvet box, and the room gasped. Lily clapped because clapping is the first language of joy, and my heart sprinted toward yes, then hit the brakes. I told him what I could live with, not the fairy tale, the real one. "I'm in if we do the work, if you keep showing up when nobody claps, if we tell Lily the truth, even when it's messy, if we stack 90 ordinary days before we decide where the ring belongs." He stood, he laughed through tears. He put the ring away without pocketing his feelings, and that might have been the moment I loved him most, because restraint is a kind of courage, too. We walked out into Harbor Point air that tasted like rain, and for the first time since the world went sideways, I believed we might build a life where love wasn't a bandage, it was a practice. So that's how the waitress ended up back at the mansion on the hill, not as a replacement, not as a miracle worker, just as a woman who knows how to sit on the floor and listen until a child decides the world is safe again. There have been pancakes burned on purpose just to make Lily laugh, bad drawings on the fridge meetings, missed, because someone important was busy being present. And yeah, the whispers too. The ones that say it's too fast, or he crossed a line digging into my past, or I should have said yes without conditions. You can go ahead and argue with me in the comments. I'll be there, but here is what I know. Power is easy. Tenderness takes guts, and sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask for a slow yes and earn it day by ordinary day. Tell me what you think. Did I do the right thing holding the line on the ring, or did I overthink a moment that wanted a simple yes? Was Gavin right to push for answers, or did he turn love into a research project? Do we judge people in aprons differently than people in suits until they prove us wrong? Yeah, that happened. Drop your take, tell me where you're watching from. Share a time someone underestimated you and you made them rethink everything. If this story hit a nerve, like, subscribe, pass it to a friend who needs a little hope and a lot of honesty, and I'll see you in the comments listening, learning, choosing the people I love again tomorrow and the day after that.